December 18, 2023, News Report 1, Hong Kong court reviews Jimmy Lai's national security case, heightened security outside, citizens gather in support. On December 18, 2023, the Kowloon Court in Hong Kong held a trial for the founder of Apple Daily, Jimmy Lai, regarding the local version of the national security law. The Hong Kong police force deployed over 1,000 officers and armored vehicles outside the court, sparking widespread anger. Thousands of citizens gathered outside the court as early as 3 a.m., while the police conducted searches in flower beds in the early morning. A Hong Kong citizen named Wong Fong Yao, Granny Wong, waved the UK flag outside the court, shouting slogans in support of Apple Daily and Jimmy Lai. Police later took her to the demonstration area. Previously detained in Stanley Prison, Jimmy Lai was recently moved to Lai Chi Kok Reception Center. On December 18, police were stationed on the slope of the detention center hill to prevent media from capturing images of Lai boarding the prisoner transport. The Hong Kong government charges Lai with colluding with foreign forces to endanger national security, including conspiring to publish seditious publications. The trial, without a jury, is presided over by 3 judges, Du Liebing, Li Silan, and Li Yunteng. It is expected to last 80 days. Lai appeared at court wearing a gray suit, noticeably thinner. He waved to the public gallery and his family. Embassy personnel from the UK, the US, and Canada were also in attendance. Following legal controversies regarding the charges against Lai, the defense argued that the prosecution for seditious publications exceeded the statutory time limit for criminal offenses. The court faced jurisdictional disputes before the trial. After the court session, the UK and the US issued statements demanding the immediate release of Jimmy Lai. The U.S. State Department spokesperson, Miller, stated that Lai has been detained for over 1,000 days for defending rights. Hong Kong and Chinese authorities have refused Lai's right to choose his lawyer. The UK Foreign Secretary for Hong Kong, Cameron, stated that the Hong Kong government's prosecution of UK citizen Jimmy Lai for political reasons attempts to hinder his exercise of freedom of speech and association. News Report 2. Majority of Chinese A-share funds experience losses, new energy sector faces largest losses. According to a report by the South China Morning Post, data from Tonghuashan shows that out of 941 stock funds in the Chinese A-share market this year, only 107 were profitable, with the rest experiencing losses. This indicates poor overall market performance, with less than 1/10 of the funds making a profit. The worst-performing fund lost half of its investment, and funds in the new energy sector experienced significant losses. Among the 941 stock funds this year, only 100 were profitable, with the rest experiencing losses. The new energy sector, especially funds related to electric vehicles, suffered major losses. For instance, JP Morgan's Core Select Stock Fund fell 42% this year, with a size of $32 million, holding stocks such as CATL, JA Solar, and GCL Energy, with price declines ranging from 29% to 57%. Another underperforming fund is China International Selected Industry Stock Fund, which fell 37% this year, with a size of $96 million. The fund invested in stocks like BYD and Sinopec Chemical Fiber, with price declines ranging from 24% to 55%. Tonghuashan's data also shows that last year, 847 actively managed stock funds in China had 829 losses, with only 18 making profits. This year, 6 funds also suffered losses. The Shenzhen Component Index has fallen by 14% this year, indicating overall downward pressure on the market. News Report 3, Hang Seng Index declines for 4th consecutive year, foreign capital continues to withdraw from Chinese market. The Hang Seng Index is experiencing its 3rd consecutive year of decline, marking a trend of 4 consecutive years. According to data from the International Financial Association, as of November, foreign capital continues to withdraw from the Chinese market, with a cumulative outflow of $78.1 billion in November alone. A report by the Financial Times in August noted a $235 billion outflow of foreign capital from the Chinese stock market, reducing to $50 billion by the end of November, indicating a decrease in confidence in Chinese markets by foreign investors. News Report 4, Rocket Force officials investigated for leakage of classified information. According to reports from the Asia Sentinel, the leakage incident involving former Chinese Foreign Minister Qin Gang has sparked an investigation, resulting in the scrutiny of 70 Rocket Force officials. Allegations include Qin Gang disclosing missile secrets to Western intelligence agencies. Defense Minister Li Shangfu is also under investigation, covering issues such as embezzlement by the Rocket Force, kickbacks from related state-owned enterprises and suppliers, and the use of substandard military equipment. The report suggests that corruption issues in the Rocket Force may extend beyond the initial 70 individuals, and the investigation's results may take time to emerge. After Qin Gang's leaked Rocket Force secrets reached the West, the People's Liberation Army conducted a comprehensive inspection, investing millions of dollars and billions of RMB to re-equip missile systems. There is currently no concrete information regarding Qin Gang's rumors or whether he will reappear in public. News Report 5, North Korea successfully test-fires new long-range missile, raises global concerns. On December 18, 2023, North Korea successfully test-fired a new long-range missile, raising concerns among global leaders. The missile, labeled Hwasong-17, has an estimated range that could potentially reach the continental United States. North Korean state media reported that the test was conducted under the guidance of Supreme Leader Kim Jong-un. In response to the test, the United Nations Security Council held an emergency meeting to discuss potential actions. The international community expressed strong condemnation, with leaders from the United States, South Korea, and Japan calling for increased sanctions and diplomatic pressure on North Korea. The Chinese Foreign Ministry expressed concern over the situation, urging all parties to exercise restraint and return to dialogue. The successful test has increased tensions in the region, and the global community is closely monitoring developments. The United States, South Korea, and Japan have announced plans to enhance their defense capabilities in response to the perceived threat from North Korea. News Report 6, Israel discovers massive Hamas tunnel, disrupts Hamas command center. According to Reuters, the Israeli military recently uncovered a massive Hamas tunnel, wide enough to accommodate vehicles. Constructed with reinforced concrete and iron fencing, the tunnel measures 3 meters in height and width, equipped with electrification devices, spanning a total length of 4 kilometers. It originates from the northern part of Gaza City, extending to a distance of 100 kilometers south of the Erez checkpoint. The exit of the tunnel is cleverly concealed in the sand dunes. Through this tunnel, Hamas could transport vehicles from Gaza to the border, allowing armed militants to launch attacks on the Erez checkpoint. Additionally, on December 16, the Israeli military announced the completion of its operation at the Kamal Adwan hospital in Gaza City. The hospital was allegedly used by Hamas as a command and control center, leading to the arrest of 80 Hamas members and the discovery of a substantial amount of weapons, including those hidden in newborn incubators. Regarding the power outage resulting from the operation, Hamas blamed Israel for the hospital's loss of electricity, threatening the lives of newborns. However, on December 16, Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu, in a televised press conference, stated that the war between Israel and Hamas is a battle for survival. Despite the pressure and costs, he emphasized the need to continue until the Hamas threat is removed, ensuring the release of all hostages. Netanyahu also highlighted that Gaza would be demilitarized, accepting Israel's security control. The differing opinions with the defense minister underscore internal divisions within Israel on the Gaza issue. News Report 7, Countdown to Taiwan's Presidential Election, 26 days left, intense campaigning. The presidential election in Taiwan is set for December 18, with only 26 days remaining until voting day. Last weekend, 3 candidate groups engaged in intense campaign activities across various locations in Taiwan. The Kuomintang, KMT, emphasizes cross-strait peace and economic development, while the Democratic Progressive Party, DPP, focuses on Tsai Ing-wen's policies, urging support for the English, German, and American trio, Tsai Ing-wen, Lai Ching-te, and Su Mei-chin. The People First Party held 2 rallies over the weekend in Tainan and Taoyuan, attracting over 10,000 supporters. Accusations have been exchanged between parties leading up to December 18, with the KMT accusing special agents of interfering in the elections, while the DPP accuses the KMT of escorting China and turning a blind eye to Chinese cyber attacks. The New Power Party alleges that Ho Yue received political donations of 11 million NT dollars from the Formosa Plastics Group chairman Su Wenlong in the past 2 mayoral elections, violating political cash laws. Polls released by Taiwan's Union News Network on December 15 to 16 show support rates for the Tsai-Lai pair at 37.8%, an increase of 1.1%. The Han-Chang pair has a support rate of 29%, rising by 2.6%, while Ko Wen-jae has a support rate of 24.7%, decreasing by 0.5%. The blue-green gap is 8.8%, and the blue-white gap is 4.3%. In addition, Taiwan's Ministry of National Defense announced on December 17 the detection of 2 Chinese balloons crossing the Taiwan Strait median line, sparking concerns despite the limited practical significance of such actions. News Report 8. Japan and ASEAN celebrate 50th anniversary of diplomatic relations, emphasize cooperation and maritime security. On December 17, leaders of Japan and ASEAN held a special summit in Tokyo to celebrate the 50th anniversary of diplomatic relations. Both parties agreed to strengthen dialogue and cooperation, with a focus on maintaining maritime security, ensuring maritime order, including freedom of navigation and overflight, and unimpeded commercial activities. While Japan has historically provided assistance to ASEAN, recent aggressive actions by China in the South China Sea have led Japan and ASEAN to prioritize security relations. At the summit, Philippine President Marcos stated that the Philippines and Japan are exploring the possibility of mutual troop deployment, establishing a reciprocal military presence. However, this does not imply the dispatch of Philippine troops to Japan but rather discusses the issue of Japanese troops stationed in the Philippines. Marx pointed out the escalating tensions in the South China Sea in recent months, posing a real challenge to Asian countries by China. He believes that new solutions should be sought, establishing a strong alliance among like-minded allies, such as the 3-way cooperation between the Philippines, Japan, and the United States. In addition, Japan and Indonesia signed a 9 billion yen agreement to enhance Indonesia's maritime security forces. Simultaneously, Japan signed a 400 million yen agreement with Malaysia to strengthen Malaysia's maritime security forces. These agreements reflect Japan's commitment to enhancing regional security cooperation. News Report 9. More Chinese chip design companies assemble high-end chips in Malaysia to avoid sanction risks. According to Reuters, as U.S. sanctions against China escalate, more Chinese chip design companies are choosing to shift their manufacturing chains to Malaysia for the assembly of high-end chips. These chips, typically GPUs, graphics processing units, benefit significantly from advanced chip packaging technologies, becoming a key technology in the chip industry. Due to the intensifying U.S. sanctions against China, small and medium-sized Chinese chip design companies find it challenging to obtain advanced chip packaging services domestically. While packaging is not part of chip manufacturing, and the U.S. currently does not impose restrictions on exporting packaging equipment to China, Chinese companies fear potential restrictions in the future, prompting them to move production chains to Malaysia. Malaysia holds a 13% share of the global market in chip packaging, making it a major hub in the chip supply chain. Chinese chip enterprises are relocating their supply chains to Malaysia, leveraging its abundant workforce and advanced equipment to mitigate risks. This move allows Chinese chip companies to ensure the continuity of their operations when facing the risk of sanctions. It also reflects China's strategic pursuit of diversification and decentralization in the global chip industry chain. News Report 10. Senior executive of Samsung Electronics suspected of leaking core technology to Chinese company. On December 15, the Seoul Central District Court in South Korea arrested a director of Samsung Electronics Shin Jin on charges of leaking core technology for 18-nanometer level dynamic random access memory (DRAM) chips to China's Yangtze Memory Technologies company. Prosecutors allege that the director, who joined Yangtze Memory after leaving Samsung in 2016, not only leaked critical technology for Samsung chips but also divulged 7 other core technologies, resulting in losses amounting to 223 trillion Korean won, approximately $18 billion. The accused individual is also charged with receiving a payment of 500 million Korean won, about $380,000. After leaving Samsung, he took away over 20 technical staff members. Earlier in November, the South Korean prosecutors arrested and charged a former Samsung Electronics executive, accusing him of stealing chip secrets and planning to build a factory in China. This case is one of several in recent years involving leakage of South Korean industrial technology to foreign countries, with 92.3% of cases involving technology leaks to China, highlighting the severity of technology security issues. News Report 11. Southern City Corporation faces default risk, unable to pay maturing debt. A company listed on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange, Southern City Corporation, announced on December 17 that the company lacks sufficient funds to pay the maturing U.S. bonds and interest from several Chinese banks due on December 20. The company warned of a potential default, explicitly stating an imminent default rather than a possible one. Established in 2002 with headquarters in Shenzhen Pinggu, Southern City primarily operates a cloud-based wholesale market. It went public in Hong Kong in September 2009, with Li Ka-shing, the founder of CK Hutchison, and Tencent among its strategic shareholders. The company is facing financial constraints, unable to meet the December 20 deadline for its bonds and interest payments, reportedly indicating an inability to service its debt. While the company has convinced 75% of bondholders to agree to an extension of the bond's maturity, 25% of bondholders remain opposed. Currently, the company has a remaining $500 million in bonds, with $1.152 billion due in April and December of the following year. The company emphasizes its severe liquidity issues and is confronting substantive default risks. News Report 12. A population development research report released by Beijing in 2022 revealed that, by the end of last year, the permanent population of Beijing was 21.84 million, decreasing by 40,000 year-on-year, marking a continuous decline for 6 years. Among them, the labor force aged 15 to 64 was 15.9 million, a decrease of 220,000, accounting for 72.8% of the total population, down by 0.9%. The permanent residents aged 60 and above were 4.65 million, an increase of 240,000, accounting for 21.3%, an increase of 1.12%, 1.5 percentage points higher than the national average. The trend of declining population in Beijing for 6 consecutive years is related to a series of policy measures. On the one hand, Beijing has implemented policies to control population growth, possibly to alleviate urban pressure and resource constraints. On the other hand, Beijing has rectified the lower-end population, promoting the outward dispersion of non-capital functions, such as the construction of the Tongzhou Administrative Subcenter and the Xiong'an New Area. This population decrease trend may be associated with policy directions, urban planning, and the dispersion of non-capital functions, but specific reasons may require more detailed research and analysis. Overall, it reflects Beijing's adjustments and efforts in population management and urban planning. News Report 13. According to Bloomberg, in the past 2 months, government departments, public institutions, and state-owned enterprises in 8 provinces in China, including Guangdong, Zhejiang, Jiangsu, Anhui, Jiangxi, Shaanxi, Shandong, and Hebei, have issued a ban prohibiting employees from bringing foreign brand smartphones and electronic devices such as Apple and Samsung to work. This means that employees working in government and state-owned enterprises can only use domestic smartphones and electronic devices, excluding foreign brands, including phones and tablets. The implementation of this ban appears to be based on security reasons, emphasizing restrictions on foreign brand devices. This may also be one of China's initiatives to support the domestic technology industry while emphasizing information and technology security. Reports also mention that some state-owned enterprises and government agencies in second- and third-tier cities have verbally issued similar bans, requiring employees to use domestic brand smartphones and electronic devices. The main impact of this action seems to target Apple, as it has been one of the larger foreign brands in the Chinese market. This restriction may affect Apple's market share and sales, while also promoting the use of domestic technology products in government and state-owned enterprise institutions.